increases their flexibility.
Yeah, because
even people who aren't coaching, they're just making phone calls all day or picking up calls. They'll have a few cards
Isn't
up
it
and just put the pattern in.
Because really, let's say if somebody is new to hypnosis and there's so many different things that they're trying to remember.
Yeah.
If they can take one of your hypnosis cards and they can look at the hypnosis cards and start to speak it out, then they can practice their cadence and their tonality
Bingo.
and their pace and their rhythm and all of this. And it's a lot more, I would say it's a lot less intimidating than probably reading a whole script that somebody else wrote that feels foreign to you anyway, that you can't remember.
Well, that's
right?
really nicely put, because when you do that, you're putting all your own stuff into it. Your
it's
own
that easy,
stuff.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, because we already are good at generating language and sentences and that stuff. It's just giving you some new patterns to work with.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, once you wire them in, you can really do magic. I'll give you an example. I was in a club. This was last year actually, and some friends were meeting me there, but they hadn't showed up yet. And then I got a call from them. They were arguing with the bouncer outside, who'd been, one of them had running shoes on, and he was saying, "You can't come in." And they said, "Oh, we're going to have to go, so come on out." I said, "Well, I'll see what I can do, just a sec." I go walking up to the bouncer, didn't know what I was going to say.
Yes.
Detached from outcome, I just went, "Unconscious mind, do your stuff."
Yes.
And I go to the bouncer, I go, "Hey, I know it's not negotiable, but what would have to happen for you to let them in anyway? Because we're having a party in there." And he just goes, "Okay, you can come in." And these guys have been standing there for 5 minutes arguing with the guy.
It. Fantastic. And isn't it so exciting when it works?
Oh yeah.
So just by using your cards, you're going to show us the different cards that you have. But just by using your cards, your whole life could change, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the pale green ones, these are Ericksonian hypnosis cards. And they've just got 52 of the most powerful hypnotic language patterns.
They're fantastic, I own them.
They're really powerful patterns. But the reason I like cards is I'll get people to play with each other. Because when you're playing with each other, reading out the patterns, it does a couple of things. First of all, you're getting visual and an auditory and a kinesthetic experience of it. Secondly, I'll get people just to blurt out the patterns, even if they don't know what they're going to say. So you set a goal in your mind and then just blurt, because your unconscious is really good at figuring out what to say. So these days, I'll use these in trainings. Within 20 minutes, we'll have people using hypnotic language.
I absolutely love
just trusting the unconscious. But the third thing, and this is really powerful, when you're sitting across from someone and you're playing with these cards and making suggestions, making hypnotic suggestions, the other person responds, and you learn from that, both consciously, but also your unconscious is learning every single time, automatically, without you having to do anything else. You're teaching your unconscious what responses people have to these patterns. Very powerful.
It's fantastic. Creating new neural pathways as well.
Exactly.
Fantastic. I absolutely love it, Jamie. So you've got the Ericksonian hypnosis.
Got the hypnosis cards.
Yeah. What else do you
We've
have?
got the blue ones somewhere.
Yes.
These are NLP coaching cards.
Yes.
Now, NLP coaching cards include the patterns of the meta model. And the meta model I consider to be probably the most powerful NLP tool that there is.
And especially for coaching.
Oh, it's amazing for coaching, but also for modeling. If you want to find out how someone does something cool, the meta model tells you how.
Now these cards are especially good for people that have not been trained in NLP but are coaches.
Yeah, they're
as well as people that are trained in NLP. Is that right, Jamie?
That's absolutely true. I've got lots of coaches who've never learned NLP but who use these cards to great effect with their clients. And they've got a whole bunch of NLP coaching questions, all the meta model questions,
oh my goodness,
and lots of detail on how those questions work. Because the thing is, it's not just about having a good question. It's about how does that question work? When do you use it? All the questions I ask when I'm working with someone, if I'm coaching them or I'm trying to find out how they do something, all the questions I ask are guided by purpose. What's my purpose in asking this question?
I love it.
And so that's what it wires in. And I've had coaches who they'll literally be sitting in a coaching session with a client and they'll just pick a card at random and ask the question that's on the card.
It leads to other questions, right?
So even if they're like at a place where it's like, you know what, I don't know what to do next. I'll ask a question. And it opens up new possibilities.
I mean, that's a really great sort of safety net as well, isn't it? If you just have the cards there with you, and you know that you can grab any one of them when you feel like it.
Yeah.
To move things along, whatever direction, at least you're still moving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other person's mind will, you know, help you out with that process, will adapt to what you're doing.
Can you tell us what one of your coaching cards says?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, and I'll give you a few of them.
Okay.
Here's one, which is really, really great. If someone's got a problem or a challenge, you can ask them, if you had to teach me how to have that problem, how would you do it? The reason that's cool is if someone, well, first of all, it reframes them from being a victim to being an expert. They're an expert on that particular challenge or issue.
They know how to do it. They do it all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it also gets them to externalize it, and gets them to focus on structure.
Yes.
So it does a whole bunch of powerful things.
Jamie.
Often, as you probably know yourself, just the process of explaining it to someone else opens up new possibilities.
Yes, I love it. That's exciting. And then it says that on the top, and then does it explain everything that you just said in the middle?
Yeah.
Like the other cards? Oh God, that's a lot. That's fantastic. That's basically a training in the box as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Really? Like what I'll say to people is focus on one card a day. Yeah. Just use one card a day and bring one new pattern in, and amazing stuff will happen. You know, I'll read you one out just so you know what it's like. This is one of my favorite cards actually. It's called the Miracle Question, which came from Brief Therapy. But it's great if people say that they don't know what they want. Really great. You say, okay, if there was a miracle tonight.
Oh, that's one of my favorite cards.
It's a fantastic one. How would you know that the miracle had occurred?
I think I actually based the training on that very card.
And that's
fantastic.
That's really great to know that you could base an entire training on a card.
Oh, you can base the training on any one of the cards.
Yeah. So for trainers, a lot of trainers.
So much more. A product line, anything. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'll read it out just so people can get a sense. So this is the if there was a miracle tonight, how would you know? Question. This is really powerful when someone doesn't know what they want or is having trouble imagining a problem being solved. If there was a miracle tonight, and when you woke up tomorrow, everything in this area of your life or your work or business was exactly as you'd like it to be, how would you know a miracle had occurred? What would you see? What would you hear? What would you feel? What would you believe that would let you know it had happened? Speak slowly and leave pauses to allow the person's imagination free rein. The miracle frees the mind to go beyond its previously held limitations. This can be miraculous.
I love it.
It's one of my favorite questions.
It's such a good place. Just hearing it again. I mean, especially hearing you say it, it's amazing. You know, I absolutely love that card, and I just love what you've done with the NLP coaching cards. I can't tell you enough. They're just, you guys should get them. Every single card box that he has, you should get it because it's helped me tremendously. It's helped everybody I know tremendously, and it's fantastic stuff. It's just amazing that you have all of this information in this tiny little box.
It's a really popular line, and when I'm working with coaches, I say, if you do nothing else, get a deck of those cards, because those questions will open up new doors where you thought there weren't.
Now let's talk about your influence and persuasion cards.
Influence and persuasion cards, very powerful. Have patterns of persuasion on them. And these, well, like the thing that I said to the bouncer that night. Now the interesting thing about the thing that I said to the bouncer is I'd never made up that pattern before.
Right.
So
it came from your unconscious.
It came from my unconscious, and this is one of the cool things about your unconscious, is that your unconscious mind is incredibly powerful, and as you begin to integrate the patterns on these cards, it just makes your unconscious gets the pattern.